Rare, valuable, and rich in history, the Roosevelt dime is a true collector's gem. Welcome to our channel, where we explore the fascinating world of rare coins and their incredible value. Be sure to watch till the end, as you won't want to miss the secrets behind these timeless treasures. In the mid-20th century, the United States was at a crossroads. The 1970s was a turbulent decade, marked by political upheaval, social change, and economic shifts. As the country faced challenges, it also celebrated milestones and events that would define its future. Among these was the 1976 bicentennial celebration, a pivotal moment in American history that marked 200 years since the signing of the Declaration of Independence. The 1976 bicentennial was a time of national pride, and it was reflected in the coins of the year. For the first time in U.S. history, the designs of several coins were changed to commemorate the milestone. The most notable of these changes was seen on the quarter, with its new reverse design featuring a drummer boy, and the half-dollar, which showcased the famous Liberty Bell and the moon's surface, but the Roosevelt dime, named after President Franklin D. Roosevelt, did not receive such a drastic alteration. Instead, the coin's design remained unchanged, continuing the legacy of a beloved and enduring symbol of American currency. The Roosevelt dime had been in circulation since 1946, a few years after Roosevelt's death, and it had become a fixture in the lives of American citizens. The design of the dime itself, featuring Roosevelt's profile, remained as the defining characteristic of the coin, yet, even though the design stayed the same, the 1976 Roosevelt dime holds significance because of the context in which it was produced. This was the year when the United States minted millions of coins to commemorate the bicentennial. The mint was under pressure to meet the demand for these special edition coins, and as a result, there were some unique features that collectors would later come to appreciate. That in terms of minting, the 1976 Roosevelt dime was produced at multiple U.S. mint locations, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The minting process was largely similar to that of previous years, but the sheer volume of coins being struck during the bicentennial celebrations meant that collectors would have a variety of marks to look for. One of the most intriguing aspects of the 1976 Roosevelt dime is the fact that it wasn't part of the widespread bicentennial redesigns that captured the attention of the American public. While the quarter, half-dollar, and dollar coins received attention due to their new designs, the Roosevelt dime remained a quiet participant in the celebrations, almost as if it were standing in the shadows of the other, more popular coins of the time. But that quiet participation, it turns out, was one of the reasons why the 1976 Roosevelt dime became such a collectible treasure. Its status as a standard issue coin, in an era where bicentennial coins were all the rage, made it something of a hidden gem in the world of numismatics. Collectors, in their search for coins that were produced in the same year but carried a less obvious connection to the bicentennial celebrations, started to take notice of the 1976 Roosevelt dime. Collectors began to recognize that while the coin may have been overlooked by the general public, it was still a product of a time of great significance. As interest in coin collecting grew over the years, many turned their attention to this regular dime from 1976, and soon the coin's rarity and value started to increase. But it wasn't just the timing of the coin's production that made it so special. The Roosevelt dime itself is a highly regarded coin for its design, which was the work of famed artist John R. Sinek. The simplicity and elegance of the design, with Roosevelt's profile on the obverse and a torch, olive branch, and oak branch on the reverse, have made it a favorite among collectors since its introduction. The simplicity of the design is a stark contrast to the often more intricate and elaborate designs found on other coins. But that very simplicity is what has allowed the Roosevelt dime to endure as a beloved piece of American coinage. The torch symbolizes liberty, the olive branch represents peace, and the oak branch stands for strength. These timeless symbols have made the Roosevelt dime a coin of enduring significance. Over the years, as the value of the Roosevelt dime increased, collectors began to pay more attention to certain varieties. The 1976 Roosevelt dime is no exception. There are certain features that make certain 1976 dimes more valuable than others. For example, there are differences in the mint marks of the coins. Coins minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco all carry different mint marks, and certain mint marks are more desirable than others. In particular, coins that were struck with lower mintage numbers or those that were produced with slight imperfections are of particular interest to collectors. Some of these dimes were also struck with special varieties, making them even more valuable. Collectors who are familiar with the subtle differences in design and minting techniques can identify coins that were produced under unusual circumstances, and these coins can fetch a premium in the marketplace. As time passed and interest in collecting coins continued to grow, the 1976 Roosevelt dime became even more coveted. Its relative scarcity, combined with the appeal of the year in which it was minted, made it a prime candidate for serious collectors. Some enthusiasts sought out the coin to complete their sets of dimes, while others were drawn to the coin simply because of its historical context. What truly elevates the 1976 Roosevelt dime, however, is the fact that it is not just a collector's item, but also a piece of history. As time has passed, and the 1976 bicentennial celebrations have faded into memory, the coin has come to symbolize a moment in American history when the nation celebrated its past and looked toward the future. Fast forward to today, and the 1976 Roosevelt dime, though it started out as just another regular circulation coin, has achieved a level of rarity and value that many collectors could never have predicted. Thanks to its historical context, its connection to the 1976 bicentennial celebrations, and its enduring appeal as a piece of American numismatic history, the 1976 Roosevelt dime has become a highly sought-after coin. While most of the 1976 dimes produced were used in everyday transactions, a small number of these coins have survived in pristine condition, making them especially valuable. Coins that have been carefully preserved, free from wear and tear, are worth far more than their face value. The 1976 Roosevelt dime, with its unassuming design, has become one of the shining examples of how a coin, even one that seemed ordinary at the time, can gain significance and value over the years, and now, in a remarkable turn of events, the value of the 1976 Roosevelt dime has reached astonishing heights. While most dimes from that year may only fetch a few dollars, one particular coin, a flawless example of the 1976 Roosevelt dime, has been sold for an extraordinary sum. This coin, in pristine condition and with a collector's pedigree, has been valued at an eye-watering $119,000. It's a stunning figure, and it serves as a testament to the unpredictable and fascinating world of coin collecting. A coin that was once part of everyday transactions, tucked away in pockets and wallets, has now become a rare treasure worth a small fortune. The 1976 Roosevelt dime stands as a reminder that even the most humble objects can gain value over time, especially when they are tied to the larger tapestry of history. So, if you ever find yourself holding a 1976 Roosevelt dime, take a moment to appreciate its history and significance. It may just be worth more than you think. Up next, we dive into the fascinating world of the 1982 Roosevelt one-dime coin, an unassuming piece of currency that has a rich history and has captured the attention of numismatists worldwide. At first glance, it may seem like just another dime in your pocket, but as we explore its backstory, minting details, and the surprising journey of its value over time, you'll quickly realize why this particular dime has become so much more than just a 10-cent coin. The year 1982 was a turning point in American history, both politically and economically. The United States was in the midst of adjusting to new leadership under President Ronald Reagan, who had taken office in January. The country was also recovering from the stagflation of the late 1970s, and the federal government was facing a multitude of challenges. In the world of coinage, however, 1982 was notable for a major shift in the production of U.S. coins, one that would change the future of American currency. Up until this point, the Roosevelt dime had been struck with a composition of 90% silver and 10% copper. This was a direct result of Franklin D. Roosevelt's legacy, with his image gracing the coin since 1946, shortly after his death. The design, created by John R. Sinek, was simple yet profound. Roosevelt's profile on the obverse, with a torch, olive branch, and oak branch on the reverse, symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength. However, by the early 1980s, silver prices had risen dramatically, making it increasingly expensive for the U.S. Mint to continue producing silver-based coins. In response to these rising costs, the Mint made a critical decision to change the composition of the dime. Beginning in 1982, dimes would no longer be composed of 90% silver. Instead, they would be made of a copper core clad in a thin layer of nickel. This change was part of a broader move to reduce the cost of minting coins, which was necessary for the continued stability of U.S. currency production. The 1982 Roosevelt dime marked the first year that this new composition was used. While the design of the coin remained unchanged, the shift in material marked the end of an era. In a sense, the 1982 dime became a symbol of adaptation in the face of economic challenges, a coin that encapsulated the transition from a silver-backed currency to one made of more affordable base metals. The minting process for the 1982 dimes took place across the three main U.S. mint facilities, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Each mint produced millions of dimes to meet the needs of the country, but among the mass production of these coins, certain features would eventually make the 1982 Roosevelt dime a coveted collector's item. Despite being part of the regular minting schedule, the 1982 Roosevelt dime is not without its quirks. For one, the transition from silver to copper-nickel meant that the new dimes were noticeably different in terms of weight and composition. This subtle change wasn't immediately apparent to most people, but for coin collectors, it was an important marker of an era-defining shift in American coinage. But what makes the 1982 Roosevelt dime especially interesting to collectors? The answer lies in the combination of rarity and the historical significance of the coin. While many of the dimes minted in 1982 were produced in large quantities, certain mint marks and varieties of the coin became sought after. In particular, the 1982 D. Denver mint mark is a popular choice among collectors. The Denver Mint produced dimes with slight variations, such as minor die imperfections, which were noticed by experienced numismatists looking for rare and unique pieces. For a coin collector, it's often the subtle differences in the minting process, such as the type of planchet used, die wear, or minting flaws, that can increase a coin's value. The 1982 Roosevelt dime became an example of this phenomenon, where an ordinary coin, made in the millions, could have slight imperfections or unique characteristics that would set it apart and make it more valuable to collectors. One of the key factors that has led to the rising value of the 1982 Roosevelt dime is the overall rarity of well-preserved coins. Over the years, as more and more dimes were circulated in everyday transactions, many became worn or damaged. Coins that have survived in mint condition, free from the wear and tear of circulation, have become much more valuable. These pristine examples are highly coveted by collectors who are looking to complete their collections or acquire high-quality specimens of American numismatic history. Additionally, some 1982 dimes were struck in special circumstances or on planchets that were not perfectly aligned. These subtle variations, often unnoticeable to the casual observer, are precisely the kinds of things that can make a coin worth significantly more than its face value. These rare varieties, combined with the historical importance of the 1982 composition change, have made the 1982 Roosevelt dime an attractive target for collectors seeking something truly unique. Now, let's talk about how this seemingly ordinary coin from 1982 has risen in value over the years. Most 1982 dimes are worth only their face value of 10 cents, or perhaps a small premium for those in uncirculated condition. However, certain coins have become much more valuable due to their rarity, condition, and collector demand. Over the years, collectors have begun to seek out specific 1982 dimes that possess unique features, such as those that are in pristine, uncirculated condition or those struck with subtle minting errors. These rare examples have driven the value of the 1982 Roosevelt dime to incredible heights. And now, the big reveal: what's the price of one of these coveted dimes? A rare, well-preserved 1982 Roosevelt dime was recently sold for an incredible $110,000. Yes, a dime that originally only had a value of 10 cents was sold for a staggering amount, due to its exceptional rarity and condition. So, the next time you come across a 1982 Roosevelt dime, remember that it could be more than just a piece of change. You never know, it might just be worth far more than you could ever imagine. That's the remarkable journey of the 1982 Roosevelt dime, a coin that started as a regular dime and ended up being worth $110,000. The value of certain coins can truly defy expectations, and this dime is a perfect example of how a small piece of currency can become a prized numismatic treasure. In 1995, something remarkable happened at the United States Mint, though it might have seemed insignificant at the time. The story behind the 1995 USA 1 dime coin is an example of how small errors in production can lead to something much bigger, something that would ultimately be cherished by collectors and sought after for decades. But to understand how this ordinary coin became an extraordinary one, we need to look back at its history, its design, and the mysterious error that made it a legend in the world of numismatics. Let's first go back to the dime itself. The dime, representing 10 cents, has long been a staple of American currency. Since its inception in 1796, it has undergone several design changes, with the most notable and long-lasting being the image of Franklin D. Roosevelt, which has graced the obverse side of the dime since 1946. Roosevelt, a president who led the U.S. through the hardships of the Great Depression and World War II, was chosen as the face of the coin to honor his efforts in combating polio, a disease that had affected so many during his time. The dime's design, showcasing Roosevelt's profile, has remained largely unchanged for decades, making it one of the most recognizable coins in the world. By 1995, the U.S. Mint had been producing coins for over 200 years, and the design of the dime had become iconic. But what sets the 1995 USA 1 dime coin apart from others in this long lineage is not the design but an error that occurred during the minting process. A mistake, albeit a small one, would set this coin on a path to becoming one of the most coveted treasures in the numismatic world. In 1995, while the mint was striking dimes, a rare error occurred. Some of the dimes were struck without a mint mark. Every coin minted by the United States has a small mint mark to indicate which facility produced it. Most dimes from that year carried a mint mark, either the D for Denver or the S for San Francisco. However, a small batch of 1995 dimes came off the press with no mint mark at all. This was a significant anomaly, as coins without mint marks are exceedingly rare. The missing mint mark made these coins immediately different from the rest of their peers, and collectors began to take notice. At first, it was just another curious error, something that might be dismissed by casual observers. But for those with a keen eye for numismatic value, the coin with no mint mark became something more. Over time, the coin's rarity gained attention in collector circles, and as the word spread, the demand for these unusual dimes began to grow. But why was this coin with a missing mint mark so valuable? To understand that, we need to understand the world of coin collecting. Collectors are always on the lookout for rare or unusual coins that are not only historically significant but also have limited quantities. These rare coins can be worth much more than their face value, often fetching prices far higher than anyone would expect for a piece of pocket change. The rarity of the 1995 USA 1 dime coin with the missing mint mark made it a highly desirable item for collectors who were eager to own a piece of history. This dime, once just another small coin in circulation, now had a story, a tale of imperfection and rarity that made it stand out from the billions of other coins minted in the same year. It became an example of how an error could transform a regular coin into a treasure. The allure of owning something that few others could possess turned the 1995 USA 1 dime coin into a symbol of numismatic prestige. Collectors began to seek out these rare dimes, hoping to add them to their collections. Auctions and sales began to see the coin's value rise, and over the years, it became increasingly difficult to find one in good condition. The coin's value continued to climb as more and more collectors sought after the elusive dime that had been struck in error at the Philadelphia Mint. The popularity of the 1995 USA 1 dime coin with the missing mint mark also caught the attention of numismatic grading services, which played a pivotal role in the coin's journey to high value. Grading services such as the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, and the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, are crucial in determining the quality of a coin and its potential worth. Coins that are graded as mint state or in pristine condition are always worth more than those that are worn or damaged. These services helped determine the true value of the 1995 dime and made it easier for collectors to understand just how rare and valuable the coin had become. The impact of the 1995 USA 1 dime coin on the world of numismatics is undeniable. It represents more than just a piece of U.S. currency. It tells a story of human error, of collectors' passion, and of how a small mistake can lead to something much bigger. This coin serves as a reminder that even in the world of coins, where precision is everything, the unexpected can create something of great value. As time passed, the 1995 USA 1 dime coin with the missing mint mark solidified its place in the pantheon of rare and valuable American coins. Today, this coin is a sought-after gem for collectors, historians, and anyone who appreciates the finer details of American coinage. And now, after decades of anticipation and growing interest, the coin's rarity and historical significance have culminated in an astounding value. So, for those wondering what this rare and intriguing coin is worth today, the answer is as breathtaking as the story behind it. The 1995 USA 1 dime coin with the missing mint mark can now fetch as much as $88,000, a far cry from the original 10-cent value. This exceptional price is a testament to the coin's rarity, its significance in American history, and the passion of collectors who are always on the lookout for the next great discovery. In the world of coin collecting, it's not just about the face value of the coin, it's about the story, the rarity, and the journey of discovery. The 1995 USA 1 dime coin with the missing mint mark is a shining example of how even the most unexpected errors can lead to something remarkable, and its place in numismatic history will likely only grow as time goes on. The 1999 USA 1 dime coin is not just another piece of change in your pocket. It's a fascinating piece of American history, a small coin with a story that stretches far beyond its 10-cent value. In fact, this dime is a perfect example of how a seemingly ordinary object can carry significant meaning, become an object of rare beauty, and ultimately, a highly coveted collector's item. So, sit back and join me as we explore the history, design, minting process, and the astonishing value of the 1999 USA 1 dime coin, one that continues to captivate collectors today. Let's begin by placing the 1999 dime in context. The 1990s were a time of immense change in America. The nation was experiencing economic prosperity, with the stock market booming and unemployment rates at their lowest in decades. The world was beginning to witness the rapid rise of technology, with the internet gaining traction, and companies like Amazon, Google, and eBay starting to make their marks on society. Politically, Bill Clinton was in the middle of his second term as president, but perhaps what stood out most was the shift in culture. The 1990s felt like a time of transition, where everything was just beginning to change, but you could still feel the roots of past generations intertwined in the fabric of society. The United States Mint, tasked with producing the nation's coinage, was no different in experiencing change. While the dime's basic design had remained consistent for decades, 1999 marked the tail end of an era. The 1999 USA 1 dime coin, like the ones before it, featured the image of Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States. Roosevelt's image has been emblazoned on the dime since 1946, and it was chosen to honor his leadership during the Great Depression and World War II. His legacy was further cemented by his role in founding the March of Dimes, a charity dedicated to combating polio, a disease that had impacted his life and the lives of countless others. But the year 1999 was also significant because it marked the conclusion of a series of coins that were created as part of a special initiative, the 50-State Quarters Program. However, even though this program took center stage in the world of coin collecting in 1999, the dime continued to be minted with the same familiar Roosevelt design, albeit with a new twist in its production that would eventually attract the attention of collectors. The 1999 USA 1 dime coin, despite being part of the ongoing Roosevelt series, was also subjected to the same processes as all dimes before it. It was struck at one of several U.S. mint facilities, Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. As you may know, each mint facility typically stamps its coins with a distinct mint mark, either a P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, or an S for San Francisco. The mint marks were designed to help collectors determine the origin of their coins, which adds a layer of intrigue and depth to the world of numismatics. The 1999 dime was struck in all three mints, but it's the specific variation of this coin, the dime struck at the Philadelphia Mint, that would soon become the focal point of a collector's dream. In 1999, a subtle but important mistake occurred in the minting process that would eventually elevate the value of the coin. A small number of the 1999 USA 1 dime coins were mistakenly struck with a unique error, a misalignment in the dies. This meant that some dimes, particularly those produced at the Philadelphia Mint, were struck in such a way that their design was slightly off-center, causing the image of Roosevelt and the surrounding elements to be slightly skewed or blurry. While such errors aren't always of great interest to the general public, for coin collectors, a misaligned die or other minting anomalies can drastically increase the value of a coin. This small flaw made the 1999 USA 1 dime coin highly sought after by numismatists around the world. To fully appreciate the allure of these misaligned dimes, it's important to understand the basic concept of coin grading. Coin grading is a system used by collectors and professionals to assess the condition of a coin. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin typically is. Dimes that are struck with off-center designs or noticeable errors are often considered to have a certain degree of rarity, which increases their collector appeal. While the majority of 1999 dimes were struck with perfect alignment, those few with misaligned designs quickly became treasured anomalies in the numismatic world. But it's not just errors like these that drive the appeal of the 1999 dime, it's the broader context of coin collecting itself. Coin collecting, or numismatics, is a hobby that combines passion, history, and, in some cases, a substantial investment. For collectors, coins aren't just objects, they're pieces of history that carry stories with them. Every coin tells a tale about the time and place it was minted. The 1999 USA 1 dime coin, with its subtle error, became a symbol of both the mundane and the extraordinary. It was still a dime in value, but its story as an anomaly in the minting process made it a fascinating object of desire. In the world of coin collecting, rarities like the 1999 USA 1 dime coin are highly prized. As with any rare item, the value of such a coin is not determined by its face value but by its rarity, condition, and historical significance. And in the case of the 1999 USA 1 dime coin, the fact that only a small number of these coins were affected by the minting error adds to its rarity. The less common something is, the more people are willing to pay for it, and this principle holds true for the world of coins. As the years passed, more collectors started to take notice of the 1999 dime with the misaligned die. What was once a small curiosity became a highly sought-after piece of American numismatic history. Coin dealers, auction houses, and collectors alike began to pay close attention to the coins produced in 1999, with particular interest in those that exhibited this rare flaw. These dimes, once seen as nothing more than small change, now became valuable treasures in the world of collectors. The market for rare coins, including the 1999 USA 1 dime coin, saw significant growth over the course of the late 20th and early 21st centuries. Auctions began to feature these unique dimes, and their prices began to climb. While some rare coins only see small increases in value, the 1999 dime experienced a significant surge. Collectors who were lucky enough to acquire one of these misaligned coins early on found themselves in possession of a small fortune as the value of the coin steadily grew. Now, let's get to the most exciting part of this story, the price. The 1999 USA 1 dime coin with the misaligned die, due to its rarity and appeal to collectors, has risen in value over the years. In fact, one of these rare dimes can now fetch up to $76,000 at auction, depending on its condition and the interest of potential buyers. This is a remarkable amount for a coin that, when it was first minted, was worth only 10 cents. It goes to show how much the world of coin collecting values rarity and history. So, for those of you who are fortunate enough to own a 1999 USA 1 dime coin with this error, you're holding a treasure in your hands, a coin that has transformed from an ordinary piece of currency into a coveted artifact with significant monetary value. The story of the 1999 dime is a reminder that sometimes, the smallest mistakes can lead to the biggest rewards, and the world of coin collecting is full of unexpected treasures waiting to be discovered. The 2010 USA 1 dime coin is a remarkable piece of American numismatic history. It might look like just another dime to the casual observer, but for coin enthusiasts and collectors, this small coin carries an intriguing story. From its design to the minting process, and the unexpected twist that makes it so valuable today, the 2010 dime is a perfect example of how even the most ordinary objects can carry extraordinary significance. So, let's take a deep dive into the fascinating journey of the 2010 USA 1 dime coin, and by the end, we'll unveil the surprising value of this seemingly modest piece of currency. To understand the importance of the 2010 dime, we first need to explore the history of the coin. The dime has been part of the American currency system since 1796, but it wasn't until 1946 that it adopted the design that is most familiar to us today, the portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States. Roosevelt, who led the nation through the Great Depression and World War II, is remembered not only for his leadership but also for his efforts in creating the March of Dimes, a campaign to combat polio, a disease that greatly affected his life. The dime was chosen as the perfect vehicle to honor his memory because of Roosevelt's personal connection to the disease and the March of Dimes campaign's significant impact on eradicating it. The 2010 dime, like all other dimes minted since 1946, features Roosevelt's likeness on the obverse, while the reverse showcases a design that has remained relatively unchanged over the years. The reverse side of the dime depicts a torch, an olive branch, and an oak branch, symbols of liberty, peace, and strength. This design, crafted by artist John R. Sinek, is a timeless representation of the values upon which the United States was founded, but in 2010, the United States Mint faced challenges of its own. The country was in the midst of the Great Recession, an economic downturn that had a profound impact on Americans and the global economy. The government was facing a ballooning deficit, and the mint had to balance the cost of producing currency with the needs of the nation. While the design and production of the dime remained consistent, there was something about the 2010 version of the coin that set it apart from its predecessors, and it wasn't the design that in fact, the story of the 2010 dime isn't so much about the design or even the coin's usual place in everyday transactions. It's about a subtle yet significant error that made this particular dime valuable to collectors. That's right, an error. And as many collectors will tell you, errors are often the key to unlocking the hidden treasures of numismatics. The specific error that makes the 2010 dime so desirable is tied to the coin's minting process. During production, a small batch of 2010 dimes was struck with a unique flaw. The flaw occurred during the coining process, where the dies used to strike the coins were misaligned. This error caused the design on the coin to be slightly off-center, resulting in dimes that were not properly aligned. These off-center dimes, though seemingly minor in error, became the object of great interest for numismatists who specialize in identifying and valuing minting anomalies. In the world of coin collecting, misaligned dies are often a sign of rarity. The fact that only a small percentage of the 2010 dimes were affected by this misalignment made the coins immediately more desirable to collectors. But the appeal wasn't just in the misalignment itself. It was the rarity of the error and the way it set these particular dimes apart from the billions of other dimes minted in 2010. As soon as the error was noticed, collectors began seeking out these coins, knowing that they had something truly unique. To truly understand the impact of the 2010 dime with a misaligned die, it's essential to know how coin grading works. Coin grading is a process used to assess the quality and condition of a coin. This process, carried out by professional grading services like the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, or the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, assigns a grade to the coin based on its condition. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin is. A coin in excellent condition, with little to no wear and tear, is considered more valuable than a coin that has been circulated for years. For the 2010 dime, the coins that were misaligned and still in near-perfect condition became the most sought after. The rarity of the error, combined with the condition of the coin, meant that collectors were willing to pay a premium to acquire them. As the news spread about the misaligned dimes from 2010, collectors began to actively search for these unique coins. Auction houses, dealers, and private collectors began paying attention to this special batch of dimes, and prices began to rise. Over time, the value of the 2010 USA 1 dime coin with the misaligned die grew significantly. What was once just another coin in circulation became a rare treasure, with collectors eager to get their hands on one of these flawed yet fascinating pieces of American history. The excitement surrounding the 2010 dime is a great example of how the world of coin collecting works. Coins that may seem insignificant to the average person can quickly become highly valuable if they are rare, unique, and have an interesting story behind them. The 2010 dime, with its misaligned die and limited availability, became one of those coins. And for those who managed to find one in excellent condition, the rewards were substantial. Now, let's talk about the big reveal. The value of the 2010 USA 1 dime coin, particularly the one struck with the misaligned die and in top condition, has surged to a staggering $28,000. As we conclude this journey through the fascinating story of the 2010 USA 1 dime coin, we are left with a deeper understanding of how history, design, and even mistakes can shape the world of coin collecting. For those fortunate enough to own one of these rare dimes, you're holding a piece of American history that has been transformed into something far more valuable than its face value. The 2010 dime is a true collector's item, a coin that proves that in the world of numismatics, sometimes, it's the imperfections that make a coin perfect.